Good morning. I pray that everybody's having a wonderful day. What I'd like to share this morning, it comes from the book of Mark. It's a story that many are familiar with, many can relate to, and then it's probably a story that a lot of people haven't heard. Uh, and I'm going to read these scriptures, and at the end, I want to take a little different look at them and maybe shine some light and just share what the Lord has put on my heart concerning these scriptures. But it's the book of Mark, chapter 5, starting at verse 25. Now a certain woman had a flow of blood for 12 years and had suffered many things from many physicians. She had spent all that she had and was no better, but rather grew worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came behind him in the crowd and touched his garment. For she said, "If only I may touch his clothes, I shall be made well." Folks, that's a lot of faith. That's a lot of faith. But what I want to look at is the time before she got there. 12 years, that's a long time. That's a long time to be suffering from an illness. That's a long time to be enslaved to an addiction. That's a long time to be bound in a broken relationship or an abusive relationship. That's a long time to live in depression, in misery. 12 years, the older I get, time goes by really, really fast, but when we're living in these circumstances, it seems like they can drag out forever. And, she had put her faith in her money. She had tried to buy her way out of it. It says she suffered many things from many physicians. I just wonder what type of treatments and what type of, medicines they give her, because it says she suffered many things. She had spent all she had. She was broke, and she wasn't getting anywhere. She had tried everything that she knows to do. I've realized that Christ will bring us to a point that there's nothing else we can do. We have no more resources. We may not have any more friends. We may realize that camaraderie or that brotherhood that we've been searching for years and years, it doesn't exist. Everybody's out to take care of their own. It took her a long time to get to the point to where she had no other options. And God will do that. He will get us to a point to where when change does come, when we finally realize, okay, God, this is a job for you, that there's nothing else that I can do. When we surrender our problems, when we surrender our life to Him completely, wholly, then we realize just the power and the majesty of the God that we serve. One thing about it, he's not going to step in a situation to where there's any confusion on who gets the glory. He's not going to share the stage with anybody. God's God, and He will take us to a point that when we are brought out of it, there'll be no doubt in our mind that it was God that done it, because it was impossible for us to do it ourselves. We've proved that it was impossible for anybody to be able to pull us out of this situation, and it was almost, she was seeking Christ. She was seeking the hem of His garment. She fought through a crowd. I can see her almost. she had to be on the floor to touch the hem of His garment. She was crawling up behind Him. She was broken, and she was reaching for any part of Him that she could touch. And she was adamant, if I can just touch a little bit of Jesus, then I'll be made whole. But let's look at the 12 years before. Who or what was holding on to the hem of her garment, keeping her from reaching out for the hem of His? What's got you bound? What is holding on to your garment, keeping you from reaching out to Christ? Is it addiction? Is it depression? Is it anxiety? Is it a bad relationship? Is it just a lack of faith? Is it, lack of knowledge, lack of wisdom? Whatever it is, there'll come a time that you realize there's nothing else that can fix this. It's got to be God. And at that point, you'll shake the devil loose off the hem of your garment and you'll start pressing forward. And when you finally make it and you finally reach out and touch the hem of his garment, then you will be made whole, not before. There's nothing that we can do on our own. We kid ourselves in trying. There's nothing that nobody can do for us. There's a difference between deliverance and freedom. We've got to pursue the freedom, and that freedom comes with Jesus Christ. I hope everybody has a wonderful day.